Hello guys, welcome to our next presentation on dealing with the current situation. My name is Chris Fordy from Action Coach. If I could just get a quick show of hands to see who can see me, who can't see me, if that's okay. Yeah, okay, we're getting some hands up. That's wonderful. Just bear with me for a second. We're just going to get started. We will just be starting shortly. So you can all hear me. I'll just put, if you could just lower your hands. Can you just confirm you can see the presentation entitled the next positive steps, next 11 positive steps to take? So yeah, hands up again. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Apologies for the slight technical challenge we had, but we're moving on. We've got quite a few people with us right now. We've got 30, 40 people. My name's Chris Fordy. We've got an hour of what we're calling the next 11 positive steps. For those that came on our webinar last week, we had 12 steps to deal with the COVID situation in terms of the business impact. Now we put that together probably over the week before we gave that presentation. Everything is changed and is changing so quickly. We've got the next 11 positive steps for you to take. So they're very different to the previous ones, but we believe they will help take you through to the next level. Before I start, I'm really keen to know, just from a general perspective, if you could put in your chat box how you're feeling right now, and out of 10. So 8 out of 10, and any words that describe how you're feeling. And it's just good just to see how we are right now. Let's just see. People can see the presentation. You can see the presentation. That's great. So just how are you feeling right now? 8. We've got an 8. A very upbeat 8. Great. We've got some 8s. Goodness. Well done. A 6, an 8, 7 6s. Lowered expectation of what could, okay. Lowered expectation of what we could do at home. That's fair enough. 10 out of 10. Had some inspiration this morning. Sarah, that's wonderful. 7, yeah, worried about money. Quite understandable. Absolutely understandable. Paul, 8 out of 10. We've got a 4. Running my business around my wife's work, so only 3 days available. Totally understand. Okay, well, look, thank you for putting that in place, guys. We're going to ask you at the end how you're feeling and what your scores are, just to see how much we've helped. People, can people change to all panelists and recipients? Sorry, Mark. Right, okay, guys. In your chat box, there is, where it says 2, when you're just above where you're typing, where it says 2, you can either say to all panelists or to all panelists attendees. So if you would be kind enough to change it to all panelists and attendees, it just means everyone can see your point. Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that. I have on the call with me Mark Bowen. Mark, are you there? I just want to check you're connected.
Can you hear me okay?
No, you're really low again with your mic. But guys, Mark's there just in the background to help us just with some of the technical stuff. So Mark might be muting or unmuting you, doing various things. So and you may come in at various points just to tell me if things are happening or going on.
Hopefully that's better on the volume, Chris. Just doing that.
It's okay. It's okay, mate. It's good enough.
And if you want to make me co-host, Chris, just in case anything drops, that's the only thing, and then I'll let you crack on. Thank you.
I can definitely do that. Just bear with me a second, everybody, and we'll crack on. Make co-host. Okay, Mark, you are now co-host. Wonderful.
Thank you.
So, guys, we're going to crack on with it with the 11 steps. We've also got a great breakout session from Lee and Claire at Bridge Employment Law, who are just going to talk about some of the impacts on employment that they're dealing with at the moment, and to answer any questions. Now, I know many of you primarily work from home. I'm sorry, Bridget, I know you've got some challenges there, so I'm sorry you have to leave. That's absolutely, but totally understandable. We'll talk about where we are. So the guys at Bridge Employment Law, I know many of you may not have employees, but the information will be really valuable. It may be something you can help other people with. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to Lee and Claire halfway through our presentation this morning. Just a reminder for us here at Action Coach, York and Leeds. Our purpose has always been, and is very relevant now, that every organisation that needs our valuable support will get it. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are. It doesn't matter right now. Whatever help you need, you're going to get. There's no expectation of any investment right now. We all just need to get through together, and we're totally committed. And I really applaud Wendy at the Blake House group for putting a group together, and the guys at the Empower group that we're getting more and more involved with, to get their members and their participants involved in what we're doing. We've set up our own Survive and Thrive group, which we're all joining together on Facebook. So please have a search for that. We'll send you the details of that, just so you can keep involved with some of the documents we're producing and the support we're producing outside of these webinars. We've also decided to make these webinars 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 12:30, we will be talking to you and giving you updates, taking your views, helping with as much as possible with any challenges or any concerns that you have right now. And we will have additional guest speakers as we move through. I'm trying to get some more speakers on different topics. As some of you will know, one of our goals is to create 1,000 jobs, has been 1,000 jobs in Yorkshire. We're now pivoted that onto making sure we save 1,000 jobs by helping as many people as we can. So that's your jobs, that's people work with you, it may be people you know. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and feelings in the chat box. We've got an idea where we are. Some of you are doing better than others, but hopefully by the end of this session, we will take you through into more positive thinking. Not, as I said before, we're not doing fluffy bunny stuff, but by having a clear plan, clear set of actions to do, we're hoping to get your mindset back into a how do we get through this and how do we flourish on the other side, not just will we flourish or will we get through. So just a couple of quick things. Thinking about the difference between planning and panicking. We saw this slide a little while ago. A lady called Shata shared it with us, and I thought, just for those who haven't seen it, it's quite a valuable thing to consider. So Isaac Newton was sent home at the height of the bubonic plague for perhaps similar reasons as we're being isolated at the moment, and that was when he did most of his most valuable work. So I appreciate this is a challenging time for us all, but what are the things we can create and we can make happen as a result through these challenges, not just survive them. The other thing that is very relevant to me, if you take that on board, and it's one of my favourite quotes from Henry Ford, is this one. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So how we address the challenges we're facing right now, and I was told just before we came on, I believe Boris Johnson's been diagnosed with COVID, so I'm sure he's got his own personal challenges, and whatever our politics, I think, you know, this is about people, and I do hope he recovers and gets through it, like I hope everyone does. But the key thing for me, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. It's a choice. Our mindset is our own choice. So if A, please consider that. B, if we can help you with your mindset through these events and anything else we do, please let us know and keep in touch. So something we've put together, which I think is really great to consider right now. The challenge most of us are facing right now is a level of uncertainty created by a level of instability. So this time last week, some people were still planning to and did actually go to the pub on a Friday night. We were told by 5 or at 4:30 that would be the last night anyone would go to a pub or a restaurant or a club. That in itself created instability. By Monday, we were in lockdown, or a level of lockdown. By sometime next week or this week or next week, we may be in full lockdown. We may be in enforced lockdown. So this instability creates uncertainty and therefore more fear than maybe it will do soon. The point being, if we're right now in lockdown and where the yellow star with the ring in it is, at some point we'll get consistency. So it will be the new norm for a period of us all being at home. And I think many of us are getting used to it, but we still may need to just get over a little bit of instability to start and then thinking about the future. Now, if you look forward on our phases, at some point, the red star, some point lockdown will end. Okay, it will end at some point. We've probably all got our opinions. I think consensus at the moment is full lockdown can't go on forever, but let's say we're in a 3-month phase. Let's just say in 3 months we'll start, even if it's just the start of coming out of a lockdown situation. I suspect it'll be earlier than we come out lockdown, but we are seeing the other side of this. I think Boris used the phrase, we'll be seeing the back of it, or we'll be through most of it by 3 months. If that's the case, it's understandable right now we go through a phase of the red phase, the lockdown phase of instability, unsurety. Maybe some of us have got our head in our hands, some of us are panicking a little bit. That's all totally understandable human reaction. But my proposition is fairly soon, we'll start to say, okay, we get it, we understand where we are, now what's next? Now, if we consider that lockdown will end at some point, it will be announced ahead of that point, whether that's a day, a week, or several weeks beforehand. Someone will say, we plan to come out of lockdown at that point. So between now and then, we have an opportunity to review what we can do. There's lots of things we can't do, and we may all have lots of clients that we did have that we're not working with. We're working on a number of different things. This gives us a great opportunity to start to plan, to train, to review, to upgrade our skills. Maybe we need skills around technology, to use technology like this more often while we're in this phase. Maybe we'll use it afterwards. To review our mission and our vision, to look at different ways of marketing. And I'm going to talk to that in the 11 steps in more detail. But right now, or fairly soon, when we each personally come out of the level of insecurity from instability, there are things we can do. Here's the deal. We might as well do something positive. So please start to think about, we've got some ideas for you and steps for you to take to start getting more positive. But that phase will come over, and we will start that warming up phase. So if you believe maybe we're getting back to a bit of normality within 3 months, that's not that far away, guys. I know we've got to deal with our current financial situations. We're all having challenges to work out what that looks like, but it won't be too long when we're starting to plan our way through, or at least start to plan for what happens. Now, many of us, once lockdown ends, there will be a sprint. Most of us have valuable products and services people want, they just currently may not have access to. So we need to be ready to do probably more than we've ever done. For most of us, all we're doing is creating a backlog of work to do when we come out of lockdown. So how are we going to sprint up and get going after that? And potentially for some of us, if not, and hopefully for many of us, we've got a growth phase coming. And a lot of people are talking about the economic impact might mean a recession. But my belief is, and I've always seen this through 2 recessions, small and medium-sized businesses can still flourish in a recession because we have the ability to expand our marketplace. National businesses will be affected by national buying patterns. More local businesses that can maybe change or expand their market can still grow significantly, even in challenging economic times. Any just quick questions on that? I'm going to come through our 11 steps next, but if you have any questions, please put them in the web box, in the chat box. I am keeping an eye on it, and I'll try to make sure if there's any questions will come through. And obviously we're going to talk to the guys at Bridge Employment Law shortly. So we're going to go through our 11 steps, our new 11 steps we need to take now. Positive communication. However we feel right now, it's important to those around us that we maintain a positive view, whether that's our clients, our team, our family. Negativity isn't going to help anybody. So a positive view would be really valuable. As we said in the previous slide, let's reset our vision and goals. This should be, however long it is, and I appreciate it may be more than 3 months, it could be longer, but it is temporary. So what does it look like on the other side? Quick question here. Do you still think that marketing one's business in social media should be continued during the lockdown period? Definitely, Mark, definitely. We're going to talk about how you might want to change it, but do not stop marketing, because if you do, your competitors will be, or should be. And people still want to buy what we've got. They just can't get access to it right now. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And also, in terms of paid advertising, paid marketing, there's some deals to be had right now, because people in marketing will be struggling themselves to get new clients or keep them. Please keep your passion and enthusiasm up. It's been amazing working with many of you and many people over the last couple of weeks to see the passion and enthusiasm people have. The guys at Blake House, the guys at Empower, have really just put so much effort into supporting the people in their groups. Yeah, Jason said there's many people on social media. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Great, become stronger. There is an opportunity. I'm not sure I totally conform to the idea that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, but I do believe there's an opportunity to choose strength or to choose weakness right now. And I know which one I'm going to choose, but please be strong. Yeah, we want to survive. I think most of us right now in this first lockdown phase are focusing on how do we survive, but then let's have an eye on, let's have some of our time focusing how we thrive through it. Okay, more resilient instead of stronger. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, I get that. I'd agree with that. It's, you know, whether it's resilient, strength, but let's focus on how we keep ourselves fit and strong. But let's focus on how might we thrive. Some of us are challenged right now with the vision of what things might look like. But let's just imagine things where we've come out of this stronger. What would that look like? What would we have done in this phase to have got us stronger and ready to go when we come out? And make sure we communicate with all our people. As I say, whether it's our client, whether it's our team, our clients, our family, make them all feel strong. Okay, we may need, we're going into an environment we don't know exactly what it's going to look like on the other side. I personally think some social economic changes are going to be permanent. How we operate, how we market, how we do business. Social distancing is probably something we'll continue for a significant period of time. A, because we'll need to deal with this current impact. B, maybe just a bit more sensible on social impacting for the future. Social distancing may well happen in the future. So let's think about things have changed. Now, this is our formula for change, and many of you won't have seen this. But R stands for resistance to change. So if we accept that our businesses may need to change in some way, we will naturally be resistant. So anything, so the left hand to change and go through change, we need from this equation, everything on the left side of the greater than sign to be greater than the resistance we currently have. First, the F is first steps, which is what do we need to do next? If we're going to change, what are some of the things we can do or should do? So we can do some work with you separately on this. We've actually got a session on Monday. The Monday session at 12:30 is about how we pivot our business, how we do change. So we're going to talk about some of the first steps you might take, and we're going to do some coaching and some work with people on the call to help them when they're struggling. Great. So this is what's the D times V. So F is first steps. What's the next step to take? The D times V is to make sure we have something that's greater than resistance is. What's the dissatisfaction with the current situation? Now, probably most of us have very strong dissatisfaction. We're all quite fearful and concerned. The issue is many of us may not have a very strong V, which is vision. What it looks like to make the change, how great it will be to make the change to overcome the resistance. So working on both first steps, dissatisfaction, and probably really importantly right now, what vision we need to have to drive us forward is going to be key in the next few weeks. Now, it's likely we're talking about pivoting, and that's the session for Monday. We're talking about pivoting. Now, we're not talking about finding the one key change that's going to totally radically change your business. Maybe it's just 100 small changes. But maybe if we can look throughout our business and make small improvements in lots of areas or small changes and pivots, we'll have a big impact. So we're going to focus on that on Monday. So please come back on the call on Monday for those of you that aren't sure about how your business is going to survive and thrive. And let's be clear, some are going to be super challenged. We spoke on our planning session on Tuesday afternoon with Tom McLaughlin of SEO Travel, who's one of our coaching clients. He works primarily up until now in the travel industry, which clearly is very challenged. Now he's pivoted his business into 2 other agencies, and we're going to work on some more sectors he's going to work on because other sectors are thriving or at least surviving at the moment. And of course, the travel industry will come back. So this is about just managing through. What opportunities are there? As we said before, the Chinese symbol for problem has both challenge and opportunity. It's 2 strokes, one for challenge, one for opportunity. In every challenge, there is often opportunity, and in fact, more millionaires are made in recessive times than in successful times. In terms of more new millionaires are made, I should say. So there may be an opportunity that we're not seeing. So please come on the Monday call when we're going to talk about innovation. someone's thriving. So in terms of our client base, there are client bases that we have that we may not be tapping into that are thriving. We're working with recruiters who are recruiting for industries that are thriving right now. Supermarkets, hospitals aren't necessarily thriving, but they need more people. So recruitment industries, some recruitment industries are in great demand. Some recruitment industries are in great demand. Supermarkets are hiring. Supermarkets need more delivery capability, whether that's vans, whether that's people, whether that's people to sanitize the vans to reduce the likelihood of passing COVID on. There are lots of opportunities out there, so please, I know it's challenging, but let's think about the opportunities too. And what opportunities do we have to scale, especially as we come out of this challenge? So if people are going to want more of what we've got later, and it's quite likely they will, how do we scale up? This is a great opportunity to leverage and scale our business, so be ready for growth if it's going to happen. Okay. Now, again, it may seem obvious, but virtual has become the new normal within about 8 days. We've all, because we're at home, we've had to work way more online. So technology is key. So technology is getting the skills up and the technology in place. We did have this Zoom technology available to us, and we had used it a little bit up until a couple of weeks ago. We're now on our, I would guess, our sixth webinar, our one-to-many conference, and we've also run at least 20 other meetings online in the last 8 days. So we're getting used to it. I'm sure you're trying to get used to it. And again, if we can help with any knowledge on that, please give us a call. We're now becoming quite expert. But as well as technology, our people. Are we communicating well enough online and in these sorts of meeting spaces to keep them knowledgeable, on board, on message, on focus, and positive? We have to look at how we look after people. Obviously, with social distancing, that's having an impact, and obviously lockdown has even more impact on how we work. So if we're locked down, how do we get together? We used to maybe get together socially just when we arrived at work or went for a coffee. How do we replace those with people that we work with, whether they're our employees, our team members, our clients, people we might used to bump into? How do we get to meet and keep that contact with them going? Many of our clients, many of our team will feel more alone. Many of us have come home and we've got our kids, our family there, so maybe we feel less alone. But many of us are feeling more alone. So how do we make those connections with people? Whether that's in business or personally, I just love the fact that people are getting more connected together with people that may not have spoken to much before, but they're offering help and support. Okay, we've got some questions coming in. I think there are some of them around Teams, so we'll make sure we come back to those when Lee and Claire come on. In fact, we might bring them on fairly shortly, actually. Let's just have a quick look. Meetings. How do we have meetings? Have meetings online, have meetings by phone conference, but please have meetings. If we're isolated from each other, meetings become way more important. So please make sure we have the meetings with the right people on a regular basis. Reporting and planning. What levels of reporting are we doing? To making sure we know what each other is doing so we can act most effectively. We've got a few questions on Teams, so I think maybe this might be an opportunity to bring team on board, to bring Lee and Claire on board, if your guys are there. So let me just check they're still here. Lee, you're there. I'm going to Lee, where have you gone? Lee, when I find you, and Claire, I'm going to Claire. I can see you. I'm going to allow you to talk. So that, Claire, can you hear me? I'm going to find Lee Stevens. Guys, you may need to unmute at your end.
Hi, Chris.
Hi,
Hello,
Chris.
Lee. Hello, Claire. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on board. I know it's challenging times for everybody, but I know you guys on the flip side of what you do have been very, very busy helping people with the team and the employment and the HR side of what they're doing. So
And can you hear me, Chris?
I
Sorry.
can hear you, Lee, too. Sorry, I can hear you too. Can you hear
Just
me?
making sure. Technological challenge accepted and overcome.
This is wonderful times, and so we're fairly new into doing these things. So, but it's great to have you on the call. What I'd like to do is maybe just give an idea of some of the things you've been working on with your clients. I know you've been absolutely stacked out, so I appreciate you spending a little bit of time. And then we've got a couple of questions, and we'll take questions from anybody. Appreciate you may not be able to answer them all straight away. Your views would be great, but anyone that does that we need to, we'll connect you with so that you can answer them in more detail.
Yeah, really happy to help. I mean, we are dealing with the day-to-day at the moment for all company clients. The primary query that we're getting and we're helping with processes for clients is the job retention scheme. That's the government job retention scheme where by the government in certain circumstances that are still quite vague. We got some guidance last night from the government. The government will supply 80% of pay up to a cap of 2,500 for this 3-month period in certain cases, but we're still trying to get a hold of the detail on it. As lawyers, it's a nightmare because things are going at 100 miles an hour and there is no detail from the government. But so that's one thing, and where we're helping there is ensuring that clients do it in a legally compliant way, because the government made clear that employment law will still apply to this, and therefore businesses need to, for instance, to go on furlough, vary contractual terms. If you don't do that correctly, you create a breach of contract claim. Also, we're thinking, it links a little bit with what you were saying, Chris, longer term. What is your business going to look like? And what do you need to agree with your staff now to be able to react to that later? So agreeing express variation to terms, hours going up and down, working flexibly, and processes to get that done now for furlough, but for later as well. So that's a big one. The other stuff really is day to day. A big one at the moment is, should I still have to go into work? Am I being put at, from an employee's perspective, am I being put at risk? And then the third one that Rishi Sunak announced yesterday evening is obviously the support that is similar and mirrors the job retention scheme, but for self-employed as well, which I think will be a great relief, although that has qualifications as well. So that's my world that I've existed in 24 hours for the last two to 3 weeks, and same with Claire.
Yeah, and I would just add to that as well. Obviously, that's the I would say a large chunk of the work. But also, certainly, I know myself, we've all had a few, but there are businesses out there still operating who also need to make significant changes to their contingency planning, such as having a team of people at home completely ready to step in case the team are working are infected. So think your key worker type professions, so utilities, healthcare, care homes, all these companies obviously need to keep going, and actually there is a need to vary the terms and conditions of people there to ensure that their business keeps going if they unfortunately get an infection within their workforce, unfortunately.
There's a huge amount of, the impact on the workplace and business and planning obviously is massive, and our job really, we act for PLCs to SMEs with 1 or 2 employees, is the same position is the same, is making sure that the business can plan, do what it needs to do contractually, compliantly, and protect itself, but also protect its staff, and take advantage actually of what the government is providing, which is a huge amount of support, but it's with caution, because for instance the job retention scheme, and it'll be the same with the self-employed support, that if you look at the guidance carefully, it will be audited, and we need to be very careful about who's claiming it and why and on what terms, and recording that in documentation as well. And there are, as Claire and I have been discussing, and the team, we're having a couple of calls a week, just keeping up to date and aligned on all of it. There are a lot of holes within this, a lot of people who aren't being protected as well. So we expect that the government will try and catch up with that a little bit too as things go along. But we're really happy to help. We came on here because we wanted to help. Part of our remit, obviously, we're a business, we've got to support clients, but we also genuinely want to help. If anybody's got any questions, we'll do our best. The guidance, for instance, on the job retention scheme came out very late last night, and Claire and I have been reviewing it, and we're happy to share a guide, a simplified guide from the government guidance of how that works. And we've got lots of guidance on our LinkedIn page as well on our website. So
Right.
day-to-day stuff, as well as business related support as well for this situation. So yeah, very happy to help, Chris, and happy to talk, and thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We'll put your details out in our post webinar email.
Thank you.
I've got a couple of questions, and I don't know if you can't.
There's a shielding one, isn't there? A question on.
Yes.
Shall I read it? Do you want to read it out, Chris, or shall
I'll
I?
read it out. There's two that might be the same, but if I read both, can staff who have been asked to shield via text or letter from the government access SSP, or is it unpaid as only advised at present?
Well, reading the guidance just, I think it was 5 o'clock this morning, or some silly time like that. Thankfully, the government have recognised that they're asking those individuals to go home and not work, and that shielding is those individuals who are in receipt of a letter from the NHS within those special categories. And they've said in the government job retention scheme that they would potentially be covered and be able to claim way more than that. That's 80% capped up to £2,500 a month. Right. So potentially those employees are going to get a lot more protection, and quite right too, because they're being told they can't work, arguably. But the question is whether or not what the conditions are on that, and we're still working through it. Claire, do you want to add? Sorry.
Yeah, I can see there's some of the questions further up who's talking about isolation and access to SSP as well with existing medical conditions. So I think if I just take it a step back, so first of all, if anyone has any symptoms of the cough or the fever, they immediately need to go on sick leave, and they can qualify for statutory sick pay from a day one, right? So that change came out fairly quickly, as we all know. If someone is not experiencing symptoms and they are in a risk group, they are now two separately defined risk groups. The first are people, so we've probably all seen a list, diabetes, COPD, those types of illnesses are being asked at the minute at first to socially distance. Last week, the government announced a specific, what they are calling, shielding programme. These are for the people who are the highest risk within this already at-risk category, and they will have received a specific letter from their GP saying, basically, you must not leave the house, you must not have any contact with your family members within your house, etc. It is very, very actually extreme. So, there are some people, that is not to downplay the risks to people who, for example, have diabetes or already existing conditions that, for example, affect their breathing and immune system. But for example, if someone has been going through, for example, some chemotherapy, they are usually getting these letters that are basically saying, do not leave your house, do not have contact with your family members, etc. And looking at the guidance for the furlough in this 80%, they use a term for people who are shielding, and it is in our interpretation that it will be limited to this group, which, just in terms of numbers, the government, when they announced the shielding programme, said around 1.5 million people will be on this shielding programme. The people who have type 2 diabetes in the UK and a risk factor is over 5 million. So it's definitely not going to cover everybody, if that makes sense.
There is a list, isn't there, Claire, of the specified conditions as well.
And they will have a letter. And that's not to say that the people with the high risk conditions then don't need looking after and treating in a different way, which we have some guidance on that. I know we've shared it with you, Chris, and I'm sure you can share that out. And that's around the government made a point yesterday around management of risk assessing, looking at what ways can be worked alternatively, etc. So it is around looking at that, and it might be, if you're not able to manage the risk, that person needs to potentially be medically suspended from work or other alternatives. And that is very much a case by case basis that you need to look at stuff depending on the work, the company's work it undertakes, their duties, and also their specific health conditions and concerns. There is no one size fits all for that group, unfortunately.
Thank you. That's really valuable. And what I'll ask is, anyone's got any additional questions? Obviously, you've got more information. If they want to maybe just drop you an email, if that's okay.
Yes.
That's clearly an important matter that we need to address, because these are the highest risk people. So
I just got there, Chris, 0 hours contracts as well. They are covered potentially in the furlough scheme.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Thank you. The second one, no, thank you. That they are potentially covered. That's good to know. That's really good to know for a number of people.
We're saying, it's a little bit frustrating because we're having to say potentially at the moment because the guidance is very generic. It's going at a very fast pace. So but they are listed in there as covered. They're trying to keep it, and potentially agency staff, some agency staff on contracts of employment as well. Sorry, go on. Forgive me.
No, I think it's really good to know. Thank you, because I know Charlie, who works with us, he knows a number of people who work in areas that are 0 hours. So knowing that it may be, I appreciate, this is a maybe, not a definite, but at least it may be covered.
It might help, because there's some of the discussion around furlough is just looking at the conditions for furlough as well, if people want to talk about that, but I'll leave it for you to direct that if you want to.
Thank you so much. There are a couple of quick questions on furlough. A couple of questions, sorry, furlough. I'm not sure they're quick answers, but as you can see, and if you could just do sort of, if you think it's a yes or no, or don't know.
Yeah, of course, we'll keep it short.
Furlough. Do furloughed staff still accumulate holiday pay? Is one there?
Their employment rights continue and they accrue as normal, but we're still reviewing the guidance at the moment, exactly how mechanically that's going to work, because you should be paid your actual pay when you take your holiday at a certain rate, and the calculations of that rate depend on the sort of income you're getting and how you get it, but B, also there's this 80% point now that needs to be prorated too. Essentially, you will still accrue though.
Cool.
And you would normally accrue. So furlough is a new concept in employment law, and you would normally accrue with the layoff provisions that were already there. So I would think it would be unusual if people don't accrue, is what I would think.
Good. And just a last one then. I think, thank you so much for your time. I think that question has come up. What about directors? Are directors covered under furlough? Can they furlough them? Can directors?
Well, director is an office and it's separate, but you will be an employee as well. So theoretically, yes, you are covered, because if you have, it depends on your terms. We would need to examine the case and look at your engagement with the business, because as a director, it's an employed office, or it could be a slightly different setup as well. But if you are paying yourself through PAYE and you have an employed position, whether you're a director or not, you would still potentially be eligible, in my view. That's my view.
Great. I appreciate this is all views.
Sorry, and I was just about to say though, however, the only caveat I would add with that is the furlough scheme is quite clear that they must not be undertaking any work at all of a certain nature. So I would think, whilst obviously for directors it depends, if you are completely mothballing your company and definitely not doing any work, then it would be eligible. But if you are, for example, I know we talked earlier in the meeting, Chris, about keep marketing, keep getting out there, that potentially that could be seen as work.
Yes.
So
totally understand that, Claire. There are some businesses that literally would be better off just suspending,
and some of our clients have just closed sites, frankly, and they've had to, because they can't comply with the social distancing rules, and people are being put at risk.
So that's great. So we will just thank you so much. So a couple again, some new bit. I think the one there, someone's asked about new business. I think I'll come back to that. I know the person. I'll get them to connect you with directly. But here's quite an important question, and appreciate you can only give an opinion, not fact. But how confident are you that if people that are eligible for furlough are actually going to get these refunds?
I think the government has made an open statement. There's no question in my mind that those that qualify for it, and that's the key issue for us and businesses to be careful about on audit later, that qualify for it, will get it. The issue for us also, and I'm sure you'll be seeing this as well, Chris, with businesses, and we're talking to management teams about it, is funding the business in the meantime and trying to maintain things until you get it. Same with the business interruption loans as well. So I think it will come through. The portal at HMRC will not be available until the end of April. I expect payments will not be being made until early May. The question is, can you keep going? Are you going to furlough? And what are people going to do with their incomes in the meantime if you can't pay them? Very quickly, really important, if you're laying people off in the meantime, guaranteed payment, minimum payments apply, very low amounts. But you need a contractual right to be doing that. And if you do it without it, I think what we're going to find as employment solicitors, employment lawyers, is that we are going to find a lot of claims coming out for breach of contract later for things done without consultation and agreement. So just be careful. We're happy to help and support anyone, even if, you know, it's a quick call and you're struggling, you know, we're not going to charge you. We just want to try and keep people on the straight and narrow. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. I guess just thinking personally, and don't feel obliged to do this, but almost like if there was a fairly standard letter that you know was available that meant that layoff was possible, that could be useful. But that's just an idea.
Yeah, it's tricky because we've got to look at contractual terms that are in place first and exactly what we're doing with this as well. It's not a layoff, it's a furlough. And layoff, we're building into our agreed variation terms so that we can, without getting too technical, but essentially some clients are funding it. We don't know whether we'll be able to be reimbursed what we've funded because it might not be the case that you qualify to apply for furlough. So it might be better 4 weeks out from the period that the funding's coming through that you lay them off. You need a contractual right to do that. Then you can save 4 weeks pay before they can demand redundancy. You can reimburse them. It all gets a bit technical, but yeah, sorry, go on.
No, that's great. Thank you so much. I think we could have spent more time on this, but we'll move on just to keep within the hour.
And if anyone's got any questions, like Lee says, you know, we're here. You can email, give us a call, etc.
We will connect people with you guys. So thank you. So I really appreciate.
Thank you, Chris.
I know how hard you guys are working because of the demand for your skills. So thanks for sparing the time, and hopefully we'll catch up fairly soon. So
we're happy to help again. No problem, Chris. Cheers.
Thank you. Great, wonderful. Okay, just mute there. That's fine. So thanks, guys, and hopefully that was useful. I know not all of you have team or maybe associate people, but I just think it's really important for those that do have that feedback, and we will send out the details of the guys at Bridge so you can get in touch with them. Okay, so as we said, so reporting and planning, so keep in touch with the team and looking at that is really key. We'll go through step 4, cash flow management, obviously really key for all of us. Good time to look at costs and extend credit. People, you know, we're all in this together, and we are finding lots of opportunities for people that understand and will be understanding of where we are. It's important to suppliers, partners, customers that we work all together on that. There are obviously the government programs, the business interruption loan. We've obviously had a little bit of a challenge yesterday with banks looking to get personal guarantees on something that is supposed to be government guaranteed. For those who aren't aware, most banks, I know NatWest, RBS NatWest haven't done that, but most others have. I'm hoping that will change under pressure from the government, because the point being is the government has said they'll guarantee it. I can't give you a personal opinion on whether you should or shouldn't do a personal guarantee for a business interruption loan. All I would suggest is if you have to do it, if that's the only choice, but you know your business will get through this, and this is just about managing, then maybe it's worth taking that on board. Postpone what you can, that makes sense. And maybe change your cost structures. So this opportunity to review where we are and maybe change things for the new world makes a lot of sense. I'll obviously look out for questions. Sorry, Mark, I know you made a question about. Somebody said 250k without PG. So it looks like maybe somebody, if that infers that they've got a loan, I don't know, or up to 250k without PGs, maybe the comment. So again, we just need to keep going. We'll do some more work on getting some more information out there to you as we move forward. Marketing must shift. So key thing is marketing must change. The question was, should we keep marketing? In my opinion, if we know the customers are still there, they still need what we've got or will do soon, keep marketing, because other people won't. Other people are still in this fear, will be in the fear mode for quite a long time of do nothing, the freeze If we take action, we can take advantage of a market where fewer people are marketing. But our messages have to be different and have to take, acknowledge the current situation. I'm still seeing marketing coming out that almost is ignoring the situation we're in, which, in my opinion, has a negative effect. Okay, looks like some banks. Sorry, just on the comments. It looks like some banks are dropping the personal guarantee up to 250k. So that should give us a lot of comfort, I think, and quite right too. We do a lot of work in that way, so I have to applaud them for choosing not to do that yesterday, as opposed to some of the other banks. We've got, obviously the new message has got to be compassionate with people's circumstances and acknowledging that we've got different circumstances. So just chucking marketing out, your old marketing is less likely to work now because the situation has changed. But for those businesses out there, we need to be urgent. We need to keep this going. And as we said, use virtual marketing that can potentially turn viral. So we again, the technology we need to maybe learn more of online marketing, social media marketing. This is an opportunity to learn more about it. If we're at home, if we haven't got as much to do as we did have, let's learn how to take advantage. But do more than before, because there's an opportunity to not just survive but thrive through this. And you'll find a lot of your competitors will be doing less marketing. Now, I'm not talking about expensive marketing. There's lots of marketing that doesn't take a lot of money, but takes time. And many of us have time now. I personally don't. And I know the guys at Bridget Employment Law don't either, but many of us do. So we can use that time on our hands. Please get all over your numbers, guys. And perhaps we'll do a session over the next week or so on the key numbers you need to know in your business, because if you don't know those numbers, please, we need to help you understand the key numbers that will help you invest better in the key marketing strategies that are going to help you grow on the other side of this. And similarly, sales, and again with compassion, we've got to change our tone. This is a serious situation. We're talking about our businesses, and our businesses do have a massive impact on our lives. But ultimately, they're not going to have as big an impact as this horrible disease. So we've got to be compassionate about the impact that's going to have over there. So changing the tone is key. Really understanding what our customers are thinking right now, because many of them will be thinking similar to us. There's fear, there's uncertainty, there's panic. So our tone has to be different and acknowledge and take that on board, or whatever it is we're doing. Because without that, we won't have connection and engagement. Without connection and engagement, nobody's going to be interested in what we have. There's a great phrase I was using this morning, which people don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. So if we don't change our message to show care and compassion for the situation, then we will have very little engagement or empathy. But it's still selling. If we have a process, we've got to get out there and help people buy our product if they need it. But maybe our purpose related to our vision and our mission may be slightly different to what it was a few weeks ago. So make it purpose to help people as much as possible, I would suggest. We're certainly doing it. You can hear the guys at Bridge are doing it, and most of the businesses we're working with are focusing on how we help people first, and ultimately whether we get a return on that over time, that's something that will happen. Clearly, relationship matter. And just going back to a comment somebody said, which I loved, the idea of rather than social distancing, I think it's physical distancing, but let's keep the social stuff going. Whoever said that, I love it. Absolutely agree. Let's keep the social side of what we do up, whether that's a phone call, an email, a text, anything to keep in contact with the people that are important to us, our team, our family, but also our customers and our suppliers. What help advice can we provide with government loans? We're summarising things I've seen on government loans. So we do have access, and we've got links to various things. I think actually Charlie's posted a link to government loans, but we will help you with that. So please, you've got the questions. Please email us as well when you get the email from us as a result of this session. Okay, step 7, customer service for repeat business. Keeping existing customers is absolutely key, guys. They're people that know, like, and trust us. They would definitely still be buying it were it not for the current situation. So let's just keep them on board, keep servicing them in any way we can. because when we get out of the other side, we need to, we want to be working with them. So doing things above and beyond the call of duty. What do we need to do to help? So just simple calls about ringing people up. What's going on with you? How can we help? Whatever that might be. Now, help doesn't have to be our services. It could be just connecting people to other services, other information. Obviously, we're posting lots of information. So if you can help your customers get access to this information, that might be a lifesaver for them. So how can we help our clients just in their challenges, not just about what we do, but maybe help them with their challenges? This will build loyalty over time. The more we help, the more loyalty we'll build for the future. And the reverse will happen. The more, if we choose to try and take advantage of the situation, we'll destroy loyalty. And I know that's happening. I personally, I know there's some situations where organisations that are trying to take advantage of the situation, I might refer to the banks yesterday, will lose loyalty over time. Virtual must make us visible. So although it's virtual, technically it's online, we must use whatever mechanisms to keep visible. So the use of pictures and video is quite important to engage people's sight, not just other things. So please think about that and please stay visible with them. Critical non-essentials is the term was coined by a guy called Paddy Lunder, a dentist in Australia, and he described critical non-essentials as things that we do that are not essential to the work that we do, to delivering our product or service, but critical to the relationship. So what are the little things we could do? They can be quite little, but mean a lot. So the idea, the thought that counts is quite key. So thinking about things that are important to your clients and maybe sending them an email, a bit of information, maybe some of the things we've done today might be useful to some of your clients, just to know about furloughing, just to know about the business interruption line, just to know things like that might be useful. If you know they have a particular challenge, maybe doing a little bit of research on their behalf while they're running around in challenge and help them. All these things will build loyalty and build great relationship. Ultimately, looking to the future, this is where your profit will be, because it costs a lot of money to bring new clients on. So keeping clients, typically it costs 6 or 7 times as much to bring a new client on than it does to keep an existing one. So repeat business is significant profit. Okay. Okay, guys. Number 8, get the most from the people. So there's a lot of fear out there. So let's get people focused. Let's get people with plans. That includes ourselves, obviously. But let's be clear. Let's set the standards. Let's be leaders of our teams and our clients and our customers potentially, and our suppliers. Let's get the teams. They may be seen as a cost center, and maybe many of those we have furloughed off or laid off. I appreciate, but if for whatever reason we can't, or we don't want to, we won't. How can they do work that is profit generating? How maybe they could work in marketing or laying the seeds of foundations, customer service. Maybe we could get team that we either choose not to or can't reduce the costs to the business right now. Let's get them calling all our customers and just asking them how they're getting on. Let's find ways to get profit. And I'd also say costs into profit or asset. I believe, and we believe, that the good stuff we're doing is that it creates goodwill as an asset for the future. And that creates the loyalty, and ultimately we'll get the returns and the rewards that we do for that at some point in the future. There's no expectation, but there's no requirement, but it is an expectation. Maybe it's a time to train and retrain your team. If they're at home and there's not much they can do, and if they're not furloughed or laid off, maybe there's some training they could do, or maybe we could indicate that there's some training they might want to do to be match fit and ready for the future. Obviously, we want to keep as many as we can. This is a temporary situation. It may be longer than we hope, but it is temporary. So let's keep as many as we can and get ready to come through. Brilliant. Claire's just posted. Thank you so much. You can train during furlough. So furloughing doesn't mean you can't train. It just means you can't do work, is my interpretation of what she said. So brilliant. So if we furlough teams off, let's get them training. Let's get them learning, get them match fit. Guidelines say this is allowed and it will need to be paid at, I'm not sure what NMW is or NLW, but that's wonderful. Thank you so much. National minimum wage. Thank you. Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much. So we may need to pay them to do it, or national minimum, national living wage. but at a low level. But great, let's get our team match fit. It's way better than just we're all standing with our head in our hands. Okay, we're going on to last couple, 2 or 3 steps. Mindset's key. What daily rituals do you have? What daily, whether it's meditation, some exercise, whether it's we call them I am statements. What verbalization can about how we believe about the future, what we're doing. What disciplines do we have? What are we reading if we have time? What are we learning and training ourselves on to grow ourselves personally and therefore our businesses in the future? Can you furlough in rotation? Perhaps Claire, there's a question there that you could have a look on. Can you furlough in rotation? We'll come back to that. I'm sure Claire will answer that. Let's try and see this as an opportunity, not a crisis. We will get through this, and there will be opportunities on the other side. There'll be clients there'll be really opportunities to invest. We're going to come onto that shortly. Let's find small wins each day. Let's make sure small wins are happening, big wins are happening. So what I strongly recommend at the end of every day right now, guys, look back and pull out the wins. If you don't see them at the time, just spend 5-10 minutes and say, these were some of the wins. I'm feeling totally blessed today. I'm training new action coaches that are coming into the world, and we're going back to that after this webinar. We're having some great wins there. The fact that we've got 36 people, I think we're 38 people total on this call, that we're helping so many people is a massive win. And I have to thank my team, Mark and Charlie and David for the work they're doing to help so many people and build this. And also I'm truly grateful to Wendy at Blake House and the team at Empower, Tracy at Empower, for helping us help as many people as we are. Find the small wins. So what are your small wins? Sometimes no news is good news. Yeah, sometimes it's that we didn't have a problem is a win. I'll take them anywhere they come. So sometimes it's just we didn't have a problem today. Well done, guys. We're still here. That's a win. Brad, in a different context, I know Brad talks about the idea, wake up every morning, put your arms out when you put in your bed. If you're not touching wood, you're not in your coffin, that's a win. I'll take that every day of the week. So I know that might be a little bit close to the bone right now, but it's true. A lot of people are way worse off than us right now. So that in itself, just being here, being able to talk and help and work together is a win. Step 10, 2 more steps, plan for 90 days. Please get a 90-day, it's a 90-day game. You know, really, most people are talking about 90 days. If you look at China, they went into it the end of December. They're coming out of it now. Whether that's sensible or not, I don't know. It's a massive country. I'm not sure the whole country's had this challenge, but it feels like the numbers may be 90 days at least to start planning and coming out of it. So if it is 90 days or so, what we're ready, that'll pass relatively quickly. So let's get ready for it. How we deliver, how we charge, it's probably going to be different in the new world. So yes, we need to survive first, but let's think about thrive. Work with us, work with your coach. Right now, any help we give, there's no expectation of payment. I want everybody to come aboard and we will help you. The most important things right now is to save as many businesses and as many jobs as possible. I've heard a few people already still saying, look, I was going to ask you, but I don't want to take advantage. Please, you are not. Our time is our choice to give, and we give it freely and with pleasure. And we're doing a lot of work with one-to-many with these sorts of webinars, so we can help a lot of people with a little amount of time. So please just get in touch. We promise we will do our best to help. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I can't tell you enough. Please get in touch. That's the number one. Lastly, that on the upside, and we've got a couple of things before we finish, look to invest. I know that might find difficult, but if you do have resources, look to invest. Stock markets are down. They are on sale at the moment. You depending on your risk profile, there are bargains out there. Interestingly enough, and we're working with a few of our clients on that, companies, your competitors will be up for sale. Some of your competitors won't make it through or will be thrown in the towel by the end of this. I don't take any pleasure from that, but they will be available. Their customers are up for sale. For businesses that don't make it, their customers need your services. If your competitors are going out of business, they will need to come to you or somebody else for your products and services. Thank you for your kind words, everybody. I can see them coming in. As long as you're getting help and support, that's the most important thing. Economic cycles, we talked before. In farming, we know, and in life, we know, spring follows winter. Okay, we're in a winter right now. We don't know how long it's going to be, but we know spring will come. Luckily for many of us, we can look outside and it's actually happening for us physically. But the economic spring will come, and it's not going to be that long, guys. And I know people are concerned about the whether or not we go recessive or not after this, but it won't affect small businesses like it will affect national businesses. So please, we've helped many businesses thrive massively through recessions. So please be comfortable, but take action, guys, because action's better than inaction. What's the point? Let's just get stuck in and make it work together. I'll take questions if there are any comments in a minute, but just to finish up, please, we're going to rerun our 90-day action plan day on Tuesday. So come with us. It's a complimentary session. It's 12:30 till 4 Tuesday afternoon. We're going to help you make a plan. If anyone on this call has did it and would recommend it, please make a post right now to encourage people to come. There's no cost. You're going to come away with an action plan for the next 90. Please list 5 things you're going to do today, even if you don't come on that you know you're going to do. We're going to come on Q&A, and please to follow up. Please get back in touch if we can help. Sorry, that's a repeat. Coaching sessions. We've allocated 15 half-an-hour coaching sessions a week to help anybody with any problem. So if you need one of those, you just want to talk through a topic, please come on board. Just let us know. You'll get an email. Come back. We're going to have Monday, Wednesday, Friday webinars. Just come on. Just put it in your diary. Just put it every day, because we've actually got a Tuesday session as well. Thanks, Nathan. There's a few people recommending the planning. Please come on board. We're going to new content every time, new ideas. We're going to take more questions so we can help you individually. Monday, we're going to talk about pivoting your business. So if you're not sure how to do pivoting, how to move into something new, how to move into new marketing channels or new product channels, come on board that, and we'll help you with that. Finally, 90-day planning. It's next Tuesday, 31st at 12:30, 3.5 hours, focus, clarity, and action. If you don't want those, don't come on. But if you do, come on. Plan, don't panic. This is planning phase, guys. If you're coming out that first, if you remember that first phase of the lockdown, the panic lockdown, the next phase is planning and action. And if you do that ahead of your competitors, you're going to come out of it earlier than they do. Please do it. It's free if you can't afford it. There are some payment options there if you know you can afford it. But if all of you come for free, that's okay. Please come on. If it's a choice between come on for free or don't come on because you're worried about payment, just come on. But if you can't afford it, then it's reasonable that we get paid for some of the things we do. I think that's okay. We'll send you an email so you can book on. And finally, as we finish, we're slightly over. I'll take any quick questions that come on board. Peter, thanks, Chris and Mark. That's very much great. Recommend the 90-day plan. Oh, Lord, thank you. So just before you go, if you haven't got any questions, please just say how you're feeling and out of 10. I'd just be keen to just see how much that's helped. We had quite a few positive people on, so maybe we haven't had that much of a movement, but if we've got you up another point or a half. Actar 9, I'm hoping that's from an 8, not a 10, but we'll go for that. Helps, thank you. Brilliant, positive. 8.75. Thank you, Lee. 6 to 9. The other Lee. Thank you. 10. 8 from a 7. Thank you. Helpful. Brilliant, guys. Look, we're going to run these, as I say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday, we've got planning. Just put it in your diary every 12:30 every day. If Thursday comes and we haven't got a session, give us a call. We'll have a chat. Thank you, David. Really appreciate your help and support and your comments. We're here to help. Tell us how. If you want topics for these seminars, like questions, and we'll bring panelists on. I'm trying to get one of our contacts at NatWest Bank to come on just to talk about loans, accountants, talk about various things. But if you have a particular question or particular topic, we'll cover that. Okay, guys, thank you so much. That's it. We're all done. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend and look after your families.
Great work, Chris. Really well done.
Thank you. I'll I'll close the meeting off. Or do you want to close the meeting off?
I think it has to be you that closes it there, Chris. I can just leave. Do you want to
Sure.
jump on a quick call? Have you got time?
I've got to get back to the training, really.
Not a problem.
Let me get back to training, and when we get on to a break, I'll give you a call.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks so much. Yeah, I know you can, Charlie. It's all right.